Okay, so this is where it gets a little bit confusing, or it gets busy. So this is what you've seen before. So we're comparing, hopefully, like for like, and so out there we're looking for. The question is, number one, have you got a carrier MPLS network out there that's out of contract, or do you have a BT Central? Doesn't matter if it's out of contract or not, because it will be. Makes sense. Or are you running an IPsec or SSL VPN? And so these are the typical costs. And what I have also put in here, just to give you an example, if you're selling a Grifin MPLS IPVPN, you may, and we don't see this very often, but you may find yourself up against a similar product, and probably the most similar product to what we're providing. And I don't think it's directly comparable. Is someone like Tiscali. So we compete with Tiscali, or our partners compete with Tiscali on the IPVPN, which they will sell direct and through a partner channel. And so you can see if you were to go with their version, again 400 sites, you're looking at about 1.5 million over a 3-year period. Again, using a one-to-one contended product. So now I have two versions of the Grifin product. One is a one-to-one contended, but you might find, and we find this a lot, that people don't actually really need, if you're at home, you don't need to have a one-to-one contended DSL product. And you can generally make do with an 8 meg or a 16 meg product. And again, from a variety of different sources. So we have a product called EBSA, Engineered Broadband Symmetric Assured, which is a one-to-one. It's like SDSL, but it's based on ADSL technology, and it's about half the price. So you might find that those more secure or sites that require a one-to-one contended service might go for that. But home workers, you'll find, will be quite happy with an 8 meg asymmetric product, which is 7-to-1 contended, which is what we offer on the business product. So the first one. This is the 400 sites priced up on a one-to-one product, a one-to-one 1 megabit product. So you can see, even using that very low contention product, we're still coming in. We're coming in more expensive than the BT Central. But remember, the BT Central product, these are 2 meg contended tails. So we're not comparing like with like in that situation. If we were to compare like with like, so if we're just using ADSL contended tails, 8 megabit tails at a 7-to-1 contention, then you can see that the price comes down really quite dramatically. Now, I would say that on the lease line aspect of the network. So let's go back to our example: 10 lease line network, 400 remote sites. I would say that we will come out cheaper anyway, because we're using different carriers and because we've got access to 7 different suppliers. If we were competing, as we were in the case I gave Dave's customer, directly against just a lease line network, we will come out cheaper as well. If you start to add DSL, you can see it makes a marked effect. If you're faced with the option of paying £3.5 million a year, £3.5 million for a 3-year contract on the first option, or 400 grand on our option, then it starts to become a little bit compelling. And what we say to our partners is there's nothing wrong with pricing to the market. You don't have to use cost plus pricing here. If your customer is expecting to pay £3.5 million a year for the network for 400 sites on DSL, then maybe you shouldn't disappoint them, and you might find that you could make some good margins out of that. And the other thing I should point out is the setup fee. So going back to this point about CapEx, these are times when people don't want to spend lots of money on setup fees, and this approach is very CapEx light, and many of our partners will, if they can find the margin in the deal, they'll roll the CapEx in to the OpEx anyway. So it can be a CapEx free option for the end user.